So let me tell you first what today's class is about. Today's class is, it's a class meant to counteract gardening, cycling, sitting at your computer, things you might do that take you in kind of a squatted shape or reaching forward kind of a shape. Okay, so if you have a wall, stand at the wall and take your block or your little makeshift block, a couple of hand towels rolled up, rubber banded would be fine. And if you don't have a towel, you're just standing on your mat. Okay, if you don't have a block, that is, a block or set of towels, you're on your mat. So your block or substitute comes right behind your head, and then stand away from your wall a little bit there with the back of your head pressed up against your block, and try to adjust your stance so that you feel like you're aligned. Your neck is over your shoulders over your hips, your feet are right under your hips, and take your arms down to your sides. Now, just gently push your head a little bit back into that block so your chin draws in slightly, and now as you inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together, move your arms back toward the wall behind you, and as you exhale, relax, let your arms rest down by your sides. So try that again. Inhale, keep pushing your head back against your block a little bit. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And exhale, relax. Let's do this a little bit faster. Inhale, squeeze and release. And exhale, squeeze and release. Keep pushing your head back against your block. Inhale, squeeze and release. Exhale, squeeze and release. Let's do 2 more rounds. Inhale, squeeze. Keep pressure between your head and your prop. Release. Exhale, squeeze and release. Good. If you're working at the wall, you can step away from the wall and set your prop down. Good. And come onto your mat. Now, hook your thumbs and take your arms up overhead. I'm going to step back a little bit just so you can see almost all of me. Hook your thumbs, pull against your thumbs, stretch your arms up, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, we're going to take a little side bend to the right. Tip to the right, but pull against your thumbs, especially pull up with your left thumb against your right thumb. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, tilt to the left, and pull up a little bit with that right thumb. Let's move a little faster. Inhale, tilt to the right, pull up with your left thumb a little bit against your right thumb. Exhale, tilt to the left, pull up with your right thumb. Do that again. Inhale, tilt to the right, pull up with your left thumb. Exhale, tilt to the left, pull up with your right thumb. Good. Come back up, bring your arms down, separate your feet about shoulder distance apart, bend your knees a little bit, and swing your arms and twist as you swing your arms. Rotate gently. Little bend in your knees so you're not twisting so much from your knees, twisting more from your upper body. Relax your shoulders. It's been beautiful weather for gardening or for riding a bicycle. I've been starting to ride my bike a little bit more often. Slow down that swing. And gardening and cycling requires that you hunch over quite a bit. So grab your strap now. And so we're going to try to counteract that with this practice, make ourselves a little bit stronger in the muscles that we need to be able to support a cycling position or a gardening position, or even just sitting at your desk. Now, hold your strap behind your back, between your 2 hands. You can go out as wide as you need to with this. Generally, the narrower your hands are together, the deeper this stretch sensation becomes. Now, separate your feet hip distance apart. We're going to end up in a little chair pose as we do this. First, take a deep breath in, stand up tall. As you exhale, tip your chest a little forward, stick your hips back behind you, and bend your knees a little bit. Now, pull your chin in and inhale, lift your arms up a little higher, lower them down, and then exhale, lift your arms a little higher, lower them down. Maybe even a little bit faster. We're going to do little pulses here, lift and lower. Tighten your ribs in. You should not be back bending here. You should have a flat back. You can deepen your chair if you want to and work your quads a little bit more. Notice how your weight is shifting. Your hips go back. Your chest leans forward. You should have a lot of weight in your heels, and you're squeezing your arms back behind you to lift that strap. Let's do 2 more little pulses. Good, and then set your strap down. Stand on up. Step your feet out as wide as you comfortably can. Toes out, heels in. Good. And we're heading into a little horse stance flow. Inhale, open your arms wide, bend your knees, sink your hips down. Exhale, give yourself a hug with your right arm crossed over your left arm, stretch your shoulder blades apart. Inhale, bend your knees, open your arms and knees go wide. Exhale, left arm over the right, round your upper back just the tiniest bit. Inhale, open up. Now you might take right arm over left and hug yourself again, or you might hook your elbows, horse stance. Inhale, open your arms wide. Left arm over right, hug yourself, or hook your elbows, double wrap your forearms. Let's try a few more rounds. Inhale wide. Right arm over left, self-hug or double wrap. Inhale wide, feel your legs warming up. Exhale, left arm over right, self-hug or double wrap. One more round for each arm. So inhale, first your right arm goes over. And then open wide, bend your knees, inhale, and then your left arm goes over. Good. Drop your arms down, step your feet back to about shoulder distance apart, and we're going to do one more of our swinging arm twist. Rotate, swing your arms around. Good. Breathe. Keep breathing slowly and deeply. Now, slow down your swing. And step your feet back to hip distance apart. I'm going to step back again. We're going to do those hooked thumbs again. Hook your thumbs, take your arms overhead. Now this time you're going to stay standing in mountain pose. So you're standing upright, got your thumbs hooked, and this is a little shoulder blade mobilization. So you can imagine that you're going to draw a little circle with your fingertips on the ceiling and start to circle your arms around. Now your arms might not have, or your shoulders might not have a huge range of motion to move back behind you, so don't strain, but do feel how this is kind of flossing some tight spaces in your armpits, in your shoulder blades, in your rotator cuffs a little bit. Let's change the direction. Little bitty circles. If you need to bend your elbows to make this feel a little bit easier in your shoulders, feel free. Thumbs are hooked and you're just circling around. Good. Take another little circle like that. And then bring your arms down. Whew. Take 3 symmetrical shoulder rolls. Good. And then 3 in the other direction. Good. Now stand at the short edge, the back edge of your mat, the back edge, and step your feet right about out to the outer edges of your mat like that, with your toes angled out and your heels in. So we're going to start to squat just a little bit. Inhale, reach your arms straight up by your ears, and as you exhale, make fists, bend your elbows, and pull your elbows back behind you. Now move your butt back, lean your chest a little bit forward, but keep your elbows squeezing back so your chest stays open. Keep a flat back. Inhale, straighten your legs and reach up. Exhale, hips go back, elbows bend and squeeze back, your butt goes down. Inhale, reach up. You can decide how deep you want to go. We're just working flexion in your hips and knees and ankles, and then the strength to push back up. Keep a little bit of core tension. Good. We're still warming up. Now we're moving toward warming up our lower body just a little bit, so don't overdo. Make sure your knees and toes are pointed in the same direction. Good. We're doing 2 more rounds like that. Reach up. And squat down. And 1 more. Reach up. Good. And squat down. Now reach up. Inhale. And bring your arms down. Exhale. Step your feet onto your mat and lower yourself down to hands and knees. So lower down onto hands and knees. Having a strong upper back and a strong chest really helps a lot with reaching out in front of you to do work, whether it's gardening or whether it's holding on to the handles of your bike. We're going to do a serratus push-up here. Inhale, let your chest sink down toward the mat between your arms a little bit. And then as you exhale, push the mat away and stretch your shoulder blades apart. It's not really a cat pose, so try it again. Inhale, you keep a flat back here, but let your shoulder blades squeeze together just slightly. And then exhale, push the mat away, keep your neck long and try to stretch your shoulder blades apart. Try that again. Inhale, let your shoulder blades squeeze together a little bit. Exhale, push the mat away and stretch your shoulder blades apart. Good. Walk your hands forward a bit, tuck your toes under, and let's try a warm-up downward facing dog. Lift your knees, reach your hips up and back. You might keep a sizable bend in your knees so you can really work on a flat back here. And then perhaps walk in place a little bit. Bow your head, give your head a gentle shake no, a gentle nod yes, and then relax your neck. Now here in your down dog, work on stretching your shoulder blades apart, a nice broad upper back. Work on stretching your spine out as long as you can without strain. And then from there you might add straighter legs, or you might stretch your heels back and down and work a little bit more stretch for your calf muscles. Let's take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, forward fold at the back of your mat. Walk your hands back to your feet. Forward fold. Now, bend your knees. We're going to come into and out of this forward fold. Bend your knees like you're a ski jumper. And you're going down that steep hill and you want to be in a little tiny cannonball shape. Don't let your heels lift off the ground. Take a deep breath in. Now as you exhale, start to bow your head, straighten your legs a little at a time until you feel a hamstring stretch. And then bend your knees a little bit. Inhale. It's that shape we need to be strong in to be able to get down to our garden. Exhale, straighten your legs, bow your head. Good. Bend your knees. Inhale. If you're riding a bike, you end up leaning out over your bike like this. You need both the flexibility and the strength to be able to maintain that posture without strain. Try a couple more rounds here. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. And one more round. Inhale, bend. This time we're going to stay in our forward fold just for a little bit. So straighten your legs until you get a stretch. Put your hands on the mat. If you can't reach the mat, a block may help, or you might need to bend your knees enough to get your hands down. And then lean a little bit of weight forward into your hands and let your heels just lightly lift away from the ground. They may not even lift all the way up. They may just get a little bit lighter, but a lot of weight in the balls of your feet. Bow your head all the way down. We'll take 2 more slow, deep breaths like that. As deep as you can. And 1 more. Good. Bend your knees back into that little ski jumper shape. Take your hands to your hips. Take a breath in. Squeeze your upper back. Start to lift your chest first. And now exhale all the way up to stand. Squeeze your elbows back behind you. When I get off my bike, this part of my body is tight. Inhale, this feels really good after you've been squatting or cycling. Exhale, come back to a neutral spine. Maybe you've just been sitting at your desk. Inhale, stretch your front body. Exhale, back to neutral. Take a few more rounds, try to go up, lengthen, as well as tipping back. Good. Keep your low abdominals hugging in for support for your low back. Good. And 1 more round like that. Beautiful. And come back to a neutral spine. Reach your arms up by your ears. Inhale. And then for a tricep stretch, bend your right elbow and grab hold with your left hand. Pull your chin in just a little bit. Lift your rib cage up. Lengthen your tailbone just gently down. Relax your shoulders and breathe for a moment. Nice, slow, deep, steady breaths. Good. Do your best to keep your head stacked over your shoulders rather than thrusting your head forward of your shoulders. And let's take another really deep breath all the way in, all the way out. Then bring your arms down and give them a swing. Good. And slow that down a little bit. And let's go up again. Inhale, arms come up. Now bend your left elbow, grab hold with your right hand. Pull your chin in a little bit. Try to get really long in the sides of your waist. Drop your shoulders, long neck. Good. Low belly may need to hug in a little bit so that you're not back bending. Feel your weight in your 2 feet. Try to get even in the 4 corners of your feet. And breathe deeply. Use your inhalations to create just a little bit more space for that left upper arm, outer armpit. Use your exhalations to let go a little bit. Let's take one more now, as deep as you can. All the way in, all the way out. Bring your arms down and give your arms a little swing. All right, so when you are leaning out in your garden or leaning out over a bicycle or just doing chores around your house, you really need to have the strength to counterbalance your weight. So when you lean, you don't fall and you don't hurt yourself. So we're going to do a little bit of balancing work here. I want you to step up to the top of your mat, but if you are close enough to hold on to something, you might find that helpful. So if you need to go get a little chair to hold on to or move your mat a little bit toward the wall, that's fine. Otherwise, you'll do the best that you can. Okay, so make a W shape with your arms and squeeze your elbows back behind you. Now, pull your right foot back a little bit, point your toes. We're going to start with tiny little crouching warrior threes. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, bend your left knee a little bit, so like you're in a little mini chair pose on this left leg, and see if you can hover your right leg off the ground. Keep a flat back, tighten your ribs in, but squeeze your upper back. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, drop your arms, come up to stand, and we switch sides. Left foot goes back. Arms to W, take a breath in, squeeze your upper back, exhale, tip your chest a tiny bit forward, bend your right knee a little bit, and then the tiniest bit, hover your left foot off the ground. Right knee is slightly bent. Take a deep breath in, tighten your ribs, and as you exhale, drop your arms, put your left foot down. We're going to go side to side. So inhale, start with a W bend, right foot goes back. Bend your left knee. Now you might start tipping forward and lifting that right leg higher, and you might not. Left knee bent, square your hips, tighten your core, take a breath in, squeeze your upper back. Exhale, arms come down, set your right foot down. Left foot goes back, inhale, W shape with your arms. Exhale, bend your right knee, hover your left foot. Maybe you tip a tiny bit, maybe you tip more, and lift your left leg higher, higher, higher. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, come back up, drop your arms. Let's try that again. Inhale, W shape, right leg goes back. Left knee bends, exhale, tip a little or a lot, navel to spine. Inhale, come back up, drop your arms, set your right foot down. Exhale, left leg goes back, elbows bend, take a breath in there and exhale. Tip forward, bend your right knee, lift your left foot up. Good, take a deep breath in and exhale, come back up. Now, this time we're going to step ourselves to a tiny little lunge, if we can. Okay, so it starts the same way. Right foot goes back, arms to W, take a breath in. Exhale, we start with that little mini warrior three, left knee bent, or lifting a little higher. And then slowly, hang on to something if you need to. Step your right foot back and bend your right knee. Good, drop your arms for a moment. Inhale, take your arms up by your ears. And as you exhale, lean forward and see if you can step up on your left foot and bring your right knee to your chest. Grab hold of your right thigh if you can for a moment. And then slowly lean forward, reach your arms forward to help you counterbalance. Then bend that right knee, take your arms up, take a breath in. Exhale, lean forward, stand on your left foot, bring your right knee up. Let's try a couple more. Inhale, step back, on the ball of your right foot if you can, arms up. Exhale, lean forward, counterbalance, and then pull your right knee up. Good, one more on this side. Inhale, step back, arms up. And exhale, lean forward, right knee comes up. Good, set your right foot down, give your legs a shake. All right, so we get back into that little lunge on the second side through our warrior three. So make a W shape with your arms. Pull your left foot back behind you, take a deep breath and squeeze your upper back. Exhale, bend your right knee a little bit, hover your left foot off the ground. This might be where you stay for just another breath, or you might tip forward. Take a breath in. Now we go slowly to that little lunge where you bend your back knee toward the floor. Take your arms up. Take a breath in. Reach forward, lean out over your right thigh. Step up on your right foot, bring your left knee to your chest. Good. As a flow a few times. Inhale as slow as you can. Lean. Bend your left knee, reach your arms up. Doing great, guys. Reach out, lean. Pull your left knee up the best you can. Inhale, slow it down. You'll work more stabilizing muscles if you go slow. Arms up. Left knee bent. Exhale, lean forward, pull that left knee up. And one more round. Inhale, take it slow. A bent knee lunge. Good, lean, pull your left knee up. Good. Set your left foot down, give your legs a little shake. That's probably the hardest thing we're gonna do. It's all downhill from there, okay? We're gonna stand on one foot and get a quad stretch. So hold on to something if you need to. Pick your right foot up and grab hold of your right foot or ankle. Good. Anything you might be doing for exercise right now, whether it's walking, hiking, running, cycling, even at home, riding a stationary bike, using a treadmill, all of those things use your quadriceps quite a bit. And the more you're getting out in nature, perhaps squatting down in your garden, doing yard work, all of that requires, to keep your knee joints healthy, requires a quad stretch consistently. Every day would be ideal. Let's take another slow, deep breath here, all the way in, all the way out. And then bring your right foot down and we'll change sides. Left foot comes up. As you stretch your left side, try to stand up tall, drop your shoulders. Think about lifting up out of your pelvis on that right side. Squeeze your left heel in gently and breathe into the opening there in the front of your left hip and thigh. Good. Notice where your head is. Stack it over your shoulders if you can. Keep breathing. You're almost there. Good. One more. As deep as you can. All the way in. All the way out. Good. And set it down. Come on back to the back edge of your mat. Good. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Look up. As you exhale, forward fold. Get your hands to the mat and crawl yourself out to plank pose or to hands and knees. Plank pose or hands and knees. So, we're going to hold plank just for a moment with your knees up or your knees down, but stretch your shoulder blades apart. Try not to sag your pelvis down. Pull your navel way in toward your spine. Grip into your fingertips a little bit. Keep your thigh bones lifted. Let's try another deep breath. And we're coming to our bellies. Drop your knees down, lean forward, and lower down. Come on up to Sphinx pose on your forearms. So for me, Sphinx pose is a daily bread and butter kind of a pose. And I like it because it re-lengthens all of that stuff in the front of our bodies that gets tight if we are exercising, squatting, sitting a whole lot. So push down into your elbows a little bit more firmly. Lift your chest a little bit more. Draw your chin in slightly. You might now even start to lift your elbows just a bit. Keep your shoulders back and down. Draw your lower abdominals in enough so that your low back feels long and supported. And if you really want a big front body stretch today, try bending your knees, pointing your toes. This may feel like too much. Back it off. You may not be able to bend quite so deeply. Maybe you don't bend at all. Lean your head back a little bit. Take another really deep breath in. And then slowly straighten your legs if they're bent. Lower yourself down. Press up hands and knees. And your choice, child's pose or downward facing dog. Child's pose or downward facing dog. Good. Breathe, whichever you're choosing, and lengthen the back of your body. Deep, slow breaths. Good. Really, really, really long in your spine. Alright. And let's finish up with another slow, deep breath here. From there, lower down to your knees, and we're going to do a lunge here, kneeling. So you might grab some padding for your knee. Pad your knee, that's optional, and you might find your yoga block. That may be helpful too. Step your right foot forward and take your right forearm to your right thigh and your left hand either onto a block, a yoga block, a substitute, or left hand down to the mat. So left hand comes down to the mat, right forearm on your right thigh. This is my favorite lunge right now because for several reasons. I'll talk about that in a moment. But with your right forearm on your right thigh and your left hand down on the mat or on a prop, it's easier to drop your left hip with some control and get into those left side hip flexors that can get very tight through a whole host of physical activities that you might be doing. Okay? So you might let your left hip drop quite a bit and let your outer left hip roll down toward the mat, breathing here deeply. Or you might back off a little bit, get a little bit more squared in your hips, and notice where you get your best stretch. Is it more at a central angle? Is it more when you rotate your chest more to the right and drop your left hip a little bit more? Play with this for another breath or two. Good. Last one. Good. And we're going to head into half splits if we can. Wiggle your right foot forward, shift your hips back. You want eventually your left hip to stack over your left knee. And if you're working with a yoga block, that can be helpful. You can put your yoga block right next to your right inner leg and put your hands up on it at any height so that you're not stretching quite so deeply. All right, rock up to your right heel, draw your toes just gently back, and breathe. If you know you're a hyperextender, keep a microbend in the back of that right knee. Even if you're not a hyperextender, you might keep that right knee loosely bent so that you're not overstretching your hamstrings. Okay, breathe here. Think about lifting ever so gently your right sit bone up and back so you're stretching all the way down from the base of your right hip all the way down to your right heel. You might be able now to let your head bow just gently, let your upper back round your shoulder blades spread apart just gently. We're here for 2 more breaths. Nice and slow and deep. Good, 1 more breath. Excellent, and now we're going to slowly lunge forward for a moment so we can get back to hands and knees. On hands and knees, your choice, a child's pose for a moment or a downward facing dog for a moment. And if you choose down dog, feel how different your 2 hips feel, your 2 legs feel. Good. Take another slow, deep breath. And then come up to hands and knees or come down to hands and knees and step your left foot forward to a lunge, however you can get it there. Stack your left knee over your left ankle, put your left forearm up on your left thigh. And if it makes sense to your body to put your right hand on a yoga block or on a prop, do that. All right, so now make sure that your right knee is back behind your right hip at least a little bit so your pelvis can lunge forward. And try dropping your right hip a bit more than your left hip. Notice how that feels. And breathe, keep a nice long, flat-ish back here. And shoulders away from your ears, try not to build up unnecessary tension. And then you might play a little bit with the angle, and maybe instead of dropping your right hip quite so much, you lift your right hip just a tiny bit and square off your hips a little bit more. Notice, do you get a different kind of stretch? Deep in the front of your pelvis and across your thigh. And breathe into it for just a couple more breaths. Good. And 1 more, as deep as you can. Good. We're going to head into half splits. Wiggle your left foot forward, rock your hips back, and straighten your left leg to your tolerance. If a yoga block makes sense under your hands, you can bring the yoga block right inside your left leg. If you have 2 yoga blocks, even better. You can use one under both hands. All right, so you're rocking up to your left heel now, drawing your toes back just a little bit on that left side. Right hip over your right knee, roughly center your hips. Good, and breathe. You might be bending your left knee rather than straightening out all the way. See where you get your hamstring stretch. Good, avoid tucking your tailbone way under. You want to be lifting your pelvis, especially on that left side, just gently to give you that sense of length all the way down to your heel. As we stay, maybe you start to bow in a little bit deeper. Let your head bow, round your upper back a little bit more. Closing in on about 2 more breaths. Slow and deep. Good. Last one. Good. And then lunge forward and find your way back to hands and knees. And one more time, downward facing dog if you want it, or child's pose instead. Walk in place a little bit. Good. Re-lengthen your spine. Really stretch out your upper back. Relax your neck. Take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. Good, and lower to your knees and have a seat on your hips. Okay, 2 choices. Simple cross legs, right shin in front of the left shin, or double pigeon, right ankle crossed on top of your left knee. Something like cross legs, but cradle that right leg and bring your right ankle above your left knee. Okay? Simple cross legs are fine. Take a deep breath in and sit up tall. Now with as flat a back as you can, hinge forward until you start to feel your outer hips stretching. Good. Keep your back really flat. It can help if you're not getting forward very far in space to take your hands back behind you and push your mat back with your hands to give you leverage to tilt your pelvis forward. Hold there for a moment and breathe. Relax your neck and your shoulders, but keep your chest just subtly open so you're not rounding in your back. Good, slow, deep breaths. Try to relax both outer hips. You may feel one hip stretching more than the other. Try to focus your breath almost like you could breathe right into that hip. Let's take one more breath like that. Good, and then sit yourself up, and if you're in double pigeon, slide your right knee a few inches to the right so that your right foot and ankle are resting on top of your left calf. So rather than ankle to knee, you're sliding out. If you're in simple cross legs, widen your knees out a little farther away from each other the best you can. Now, take your left hand out to the left. Inhale, take your right arm up by your right ear. And exhale, side bend. Over to the left, push your left hand a little bit into the floor and try to tilt your right outer hip down and lift up and out of that right hip. Now breathe and notice what you feel. If it's hard for you to keep your arm overhead, take your hand to the back of your head and let your shoulder rest. Okay, but notice what you feel. You might find that if you roll your ribs up a little bit, even look up inside your right arm, that you get a better stretch for your side waist, for your outer hip, or you might find the opposite, that if you roll down just a little bit and roll your ribs the tiniest bit toward the ground, that you get a better stretch. Good, we're almost there. Try about 2 more breaths here, getting a nice long side body stretch. Last one. Good, and cartwheel yourself up. Good. Bring your knees in, stretch your legs out, give your legs a jiggle, a windshield wiper flop. And let's try it again. Left shin in front of the right shin. Good. Or left ankle over the right knee, double pigeon. So you choose, take a deep breath in. Exhale, try not to round your back. Hinge forward. Maybe your fingers come behind you and you push your mat back. You might be just leaning into the tension that you feel. Might not be folding very far at all. Okay, flat back, especially your low back should be tilting with you into this pose. You're really targeting outer hips. Breathe, shoulders away from your ears, collarbones just a little bit broad. And especially where you feel this in your pelvis the most, try to breathe there. So you could breathe right into that spot. Make a little space as you inhale, let go of some of that tension as you exhale. Good. Almost there. And take another slow, deep breath here. And then bring yourself up and widen your left knee over to the left if you're in double pigeon. Both knees widen out a little bit if you are in cross legs. Take your right fingers to the right. Inhale, left arm up to your left ear. Walk your right hand over to the right and side bend. Push, anchor down into that right hand. Push the floor away a little bit and tip your outer left hip down toward the mat. And then you might choose to relax the shoulder a little bit more, or it might feel good to really stretch out long through that left arm. Then play a little bit with your angle. You might rotate your ribs up slightly, maybe even look up inside that left arm. You might rotate your ribs down a little bit and see if you can get a stretch that's more angled toward the back of your side body rather than the front. Or maybe you stay right at center. A couple more breaths. Almost there. One more. Deep as you can. And then cartwheel up. Bring your knees in, stretch your legs out, give them a jiggle. Give yourself room to recline. And come down onto your back. Good. We're going to end with a couple of windshield wipers. So bend your knees, widen your feet, arms to airplane or cactus. When you're ready, inhale, knees right, chin left. And exhale, knees left, chin right. Side to side a few rounds. Good. Start to breathe a little bit more slowly. Your body ready for final relaxation. After this next round, knees left, chin right. Come back to center, and if you're comfortable with butterfly legs for relaxation, tilt your knees out, bring the soles of your feet together, and bring your arms down a little bit lower, more like a rag doll. If you are not comfortable with butterfly legs, then stretch your legs out in a shape that is comfortable to your body. And broaden your upper back. Relax your arms into the floor. Relax your head and your hips into your mat. And bring your attention to your breath. So with your mind's eye now, start to follow your breath in through your nose and back out again. And take your breath deeply into your body. Inhale, expand your chest, your ribs, your belly. Exhale, relax your belly, your ribs, your chest. Inhale, breathe down into the sides of your waist. And exhale, relax the sides of your waist. Inhale, breathe down into your pelvis and expand as much of your pelvis as you can feel your breath inside. And as you exhale, relax the base of your pelvis. Relax your deep belly in between your hip bones. Relax your sacrum and your tailbone at the back of your pelvis. Keep breathing slowly and deeply and follow your breath through your body. Feel your breath expanding your arms, your hands, your fingers as you inhale. And feel your breath receding up from your fingers, through your hands, your arms as you exhale. Feel the back of your body, especially your back muscles, expanding gently as you inhale, relaxing as you exhale. Feel your inhalations climb up through the slope of your shoulders, into your neck, into your head. As you exhale, relax your head, relax your neck. Relax your shoulders. If your legs are in a butterfly shape, bring your hands down to your outer knees. Help your knees draw together and stretch your legs out straight if you can. Then pause there and let your legs really fully relax into your mat. From the tips of your fingers and toes up to the crown of your head. Feel your whole body now, as relaxed as possible. And now take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth and gently move your fingers and your toes. Start to wake up your hands and feet. Move your arms and legs. Stretch your arms overhead. Straighten your legs a little straighter. Another deep breath in and sigh it out when you're ready. Bring your arms down to your sides. Bend your knees. Roll slowly to your side and pause on your side for one more breath. A deep breath in. Easy breath out. And use the strength of your arms to bring yourself up to a seat when you're ready. Good. When you make it up, inhale, stretch your arms out. Exhale, hands to your heart. Namaste.